The pastor, D. Alexander Bullock, is on the line with us, back with us. He's the founder and national spokesperson for the Change Agent Consortium, ActionCAC. On Facebook, it's facebook.com/ActionCAC. And Reverend Bullock, welcome back to the program.
Tom, it's good to be on the program. How are you?
I am fine, and it's great to have you with us. I saw this story, Koch brothers killer carbon mountain in Detroit. Your town could be next. Kind of reminds me of the old song from the 60s when I was a kid, better look out for the eggplant that ate Chicago. If he's still hungry, he might eat your town too. What's this giant killer carbon mound in Detroit? What's going on with this? What is this?
You know what? You would think emergency management would be enough of a problem for the city of Detroit.
Yeah.
But now on top of that, we've got environmental racism. I mean, the Koch brothers have a huge mound of petroleum coke or pet coke that takes up almost a industrial city block right by the Detroit River. In fact, on the banks of the Detroit River. This is some nasty stuff. Look, you can't burn it in the United States of America. The EPA won't approve it being used as a source of fuel. And so it comes actually from Canada, but is stored on the U.S. side right on the Detroit River. And so now we've got environmental racism, low-income communities can't fight back, don't have the big money to organize against the Koch brothers, and basically they're taking advantage of Detroit and these vulnerable communities.
Now, this mountain of crud, this it kind of almost looks like coal. This is, if I understand correctly, when you take the Canadian tar sands oil, which is actually bitumen slurry, it's actually kind of like ground up coal mixed with water. When you take that and refine it into gasoline and diesel fuel, what's left over is this stuff, right?
That's right. That's right. This is a nasty byproduct of the oil refinery process. So nasty that, again, we don't even use it in the United States of America.
It's illegal to burn it here because it's so dirty. So what do the Koch brothers do? Export it to other countries, third world countries?
Export it to China, in fact.
Wow. Where they do burn it in power plants or whatever, and it produces a whole nother level of waste. So, which raises the question, I mean, they want to build this Keystone XL pipeline down to the Gulf Coast so that they can run the refineries down there so they can export gasoline and diesel fuel all around the world and make a pile of money. Are we going to end up with mountains of this, what's this stuff called?
Petroleum coke, or pet coke for short.
Pet coke. It's appropriate given the Koch brothers' name, only it's COKE, right? Like
That's right.
Not the drink, but more like what's left over after. We used to have coke-fired furnaces, actually. That were to make steel and things back, 50, 80 years ago. I guess that was a product of burning coal. But so, are we going to end up with this down in Texas?
We might end up with this around the country. It's amazing that people are advocating for the Keystone Pipeline. They say it's going to create jobs, but we never really talk about the environmental cost typically until it's too late. President Barack Obama and others have been trying to make the United States of America greener and leaner. We're trying to make Detroit one of the havens and capitals of a green economy. We're talking about geothermal heating and wind turbines and solar panels. But there's another vision potentially to have these mounds of mess all around the nation. And you know how this goes, Tom. Where will you find these mounds? You'll find them in low-income communities. Yeah. You'll find them in communities where there are poor people, where people are most vulnerable. And so, again, you have poor, disadvantaged communities potentially now suffering from environmental racism while the big oil companies continue to get richer. And something's got to stop here.
To the best of your knowledge, have the Koch brothers ever cited a refinery, ever put a refinery, particularly one that uses Canadian tar sands and produces this pet coke waste product? Have they ever put one of these in a white community?
Not to my knowledge. But the studies that we have, at least about the state of Michigan, show that the percentage of environmental racism, the percentage of dumping or storing hazardous materials is very, very high the closer you get to brown and black minority or poor, white, low-income communities. And so this is obviously a class issue and many times a race issue. but it seems that the most vulnerable are always those who are preyed upon by corporate titans.
Amazing. And I can't let you go without asking you what's going on with the little dictators there, Rick Scott's Rick Schneider's little dictator who has now taken over Detroit.
Well, Kevin Norris taken over Detroit, and we're continuing to wait and see. He hasn't made any big moves, threatened to cut the city council pay. That hasn't happened, but we're keeping our eye on the water department. We know that there is a great movement for privatization in the city of Detroit. Many agencies have been privatized already. So we're keeping our eyes on our assets in Detroit, as well as Flint and Benton Harbor and other places. And we continue to stand strong, looking forward to make sure that Governor Snyder is a one-term governor. And hopefully we can get these emergency managers out of Michigan.
Does his term expire in the next year and a half?
2014, he's up for re-election. And so we're already organizing now.
Wow. That's incredible. And your best guess is that what Kevin Orr is going to do, the emergency manager in Detroit, the fellow who has ended democracy in Detroit at the behest of the governor, who passed this law after the citizens of Michigan voted down the law. He brought it back. That his main agenda is going to be to take the public utilities of Detroit, paid for by the taxpayers of Detroit, and hand those off to private for-profit buddies of his and the governor's.
That's our best guess, that the lighting department, DTE, will take over the lighting. The water department will be taken from the city and become potentially a separate corporation. They'll float some bonds, but Detroit won't control that as well. Belle Isle and other assets will be taken from the city. So that's our best guess, but we're standing strong and we're continuing to fight back.
Good on you. Reverend D. Alexander Bullock, the founder and national spokesperson for the Change Agent Consortium, ActionCAC, Facebook.com/ActionCAC. Reverend, thanks again for being with us today. It's always a pleasure talking. Thank you.